big round of applause. And I love that you're perfectly on time. You practice very well. Over to you, jury, if you have any questions for the team.
Hi, everyone. Tell me about your team. What inspired you to get into this field? And what experience do you have prior to setting up this business?
Great. So my background academic background is in design, and I also study a specialization program in fashion management in Parsons in New York. And then we just spread this topic because what we realize is that even though when you need to have some kind of expertise or some kind of information, it's something that every single one of us can relate. You know, it's the way we dress, and we know that, or it's a big question for all of us. So we have some kind of academic background and experience also of that, but it's also very common for all of us as a team.
And we're both Colombian, so that's why we chose the Colombian market.
Exactly. That's why the market is specifically in Colombia, because we both are on the country.
Can you recap the levers and barriers to behavior change? Like, what are you hoping to impact, and what barriers do you foresee with changing behavior, the usage of your platform?
I think the first one is definitely cultural, in the sense that in Latin America, where we tend to be more focused on giving away the pieces of clothing, but it's not really... It's almost second nature to a certain extent. There's a lot of need, so definitely you can give a second life to those pieces of clothing through that. However, it doesn't really change your consumer behavior. It doesn't really create your sense of awareness. So our idea is, I guess, twofold. One, to help create awareness in the impact that we have in this behavior, in this generated demand for new pieces of clothing. And secondly, to try to also adapt that consumer behavior that already exists. I mean, that's already cultural, it's there. We're just trying to maybe seize that moment to make something better of it, of something that's already there.
Thank you. Will you accept all brands in your platform? Even the most polluting today?
Yeah, so there are two options in the business. It's even if you want to go with fast fashion, since we are second-hand, what we are allowing is that actually these big corporations that are contaminating right now, they just reduce the production of it because people is consuming less. And there is a second option that is actually with high fashion. So when you have higher brands that you can actually recycle, upcycle, etc., there is another process that can come into the game, let's say for a potential expansion of the business. But at some point, at the beginning, at this point, we are thinking on every single, let's say, fashion line, not to, let's say, reduce it or to put it into something smaller.
And if I may compliment as well, to a certain extent, I guess it would depend on who we partner with. But I think to the previous question, we would try to create awareness in the consumers. But if we were to work with also businesses, then definitely also try to create awareness in the businesses that we would partner with.
Sounds perfect. Thank you. So we saw that Group 2 already has a call of action. And with that, we move over to Group 3. I would invite Group 3, Waste Cupid, to come on stage, where we have Katarina, Andrea, Marua, Samia. Let's cheer them on.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Honorable members of the jury, dear attendees, we are Waste Cupid. Now, I want to pick your imagination first. I want everyone to imagine a fictional character. Let's call her Dalila. Dalila is the sole breadwinner of her family since her husband passed away. She spends her day walking around the city, collecting any recyclable waste she can find. And what she collects, she later sells to recycling factories, and that's how she provides for her family. As much as I wouldn't want this to be real, well, Dalila is not a fictional character. Dalila is a Barbesha from Tunisia. Barbesha means waste picker. And because what she does is ad hoc activity, she has no social security, no health insurance, which means she struggles to deal with her diabetes, hypertension, and her renal failure. Dalila is not alone in this. There are roughly 15,000 waste pickers some of whom I personally met in the streets. And them alone are responsible for 60% of recycled waste in Tunisia, which is only 4% recycled of the general waste, which means we have 96% of waste that is not recycled. Now, why are barbesha so essential for us in Tunisia? Well, because in Tunisia we have no sorting system. All the waste ends up in the same landfills, and it's the barbesha who are single-handedly going there and sorting the waste with their bare hands, saving us or trying to save us from an environmental crisis, but their efforts alone are not enough.
Our solution, Waste Cupid, is about...
There is a missing slide, I'm sorry. There is
Anyway.
a missing slide. Okay.
Our solution, Waste Cupid, is about centering the waste management ecosystem of Tunisia around our waste pickers. How are we going to do so? With an app, Waste Cupid, where we basically match our waste pickers with collecting points. These collecting points are you, me, businesses, such as supermarkets. You can imagine it like Tinder. So you match the waste picker with a collecting point and thereby improve their operational efficiency in collecting waste. Our app also features an educational interface, which is very important because we need people and also those included in the process to learn more about what is recyclable and what is non-recyclable. Our business has two revenue models. One is subscription-based and one is commission-based. Our subscription-based model is us partnering up with supermarkets, paying a subscription fee and being part of the becoming a collecting point and appearing on the app. The second part, which is basically a subsequential business revenue model, is our commission fee, where we, as Waste Cupid, interact as intermediary between the waste pickers and the recycling factory. Our business's success will be measured with two KPIs, one environmental and one social. In the end, we want to improve our waste pickers, Dalila's life. We want to make them happy again. We want to improve their working conditions by stabilizing their income. We want to improve also their working conditions by providing them with safety equipment and ultimately reducing the number that you have seen before, the 96% of unrecyclable waste. We want to improve that in Tunisia. And going forward, we want to expand in other countries. For instance, in Northern Africa, I come from, or part of my family comes from Morocco. That would be our scale up to bring our business to other countries which have the similar issue with waste management. Thank you. And yeah, of course, our team, which is here presented. And if you're curious about our solution, feel free to check out our QR code. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The jury, if you have any questions.
Yeah, so the environmental impact piece was very clear and powerful. More curious about the social impact piece with regards to the waste pickers' lives and social security you mentioned. So that's one thing. And then secondarily, why would anybody pay to have this done, like a supermarket? Why would they buy into it? It's a twofold question.
Okay.
Hi.
So I can answer because I'm from Tunisia, so like I live this every day. The social aspect is we want to provide them with, let's say, a stable job. And that means they will be able to have social security and so on and so forth. Because what they do now is not recognized by the state. Like their job is very crucial, but it's not, like there's no legal aspect to it. That's one thing. The second thing is, in the ecosystem, there are improvements. So, for example, there is an NGO who's connecting with households. They collect from them the recyclable waste, and the households, they give them donations. But this activity is only located in a small part of the capital, and it does not include barbesha, the waste pickers. So we want this to become like more generalized and more structured. Why would they pay, you say? Let me give you an example of my everyday life in my house. So because we don't trust tap water, We only drink bottled water in Tunisia. So everywhere you go, there's huge piles of plastics, even in our house. So every week, my father struggles to find how to dispose of this plastic waste because we became conscious and we don't want to throw them in the waste that's not sorted by the government. And that means everyone, they want to be included in this sorting system to allow Barbesha to have revenue. That's what's happening, yeah.
If I may just complement to that, we thought of supermarkets as key partners in this in our business model because we thought of an incentivization scheme to make this work. So supermarkets could partner up with us, of course, to increase their CSR strategy in general, but not just. If they're collecting points, then households can bring their waste to these collection points and receive, for example, vouchers in return, vouchers from the own supermarket, from the white brands of the supermarket, for instance. So there's also a revenue there for them as well. There's a real interest. So we sort of thought about these different
Thank you so much, Katerina. Thank you so much. Let's have a big round of applause for this group. So we have, can we have the next group on stage? We have now group 4, U-Value, where we have Bernadette, Julia, Francesca, and Ahmed on stage.
It's only me on stage. Okay.
Well, we are connecting.
The other one is connecting, yes. So, good afternoon, everyone. And I really thank the group too, because they have already used the example of the jeans, and I am using the one of the T-shirts. So we have already introduced a little bit the problem. And basically, these examples are really shocking and they're really impressive. And it really explains why the fast fashion industry is the second most polluting industry in the world. In terms of really natural resources usage, CO2 generation, and waste production. But fortunately, European market is reacting, both from the business side, as new circular economy in fashion industry are arising, as well as on the legal one. And if we focus our attention on the Italian market, we can also proudly say that Italy is even reacting faster than the other European member countries. Except for one thing, which is related to the level of information and level of culture regarding circular economy in the fashion industry. In order to better analyze it, we submitted a survey and really understood that the level of information is really low, and there is also low tendency to recycle textile. So we understood that there is a gap here, and we want to try to reduce it thanks to our solution, which is U-Value. U-Value is the smart digital platform that really puts the customer at the center of the circular economy process by enabling him to responsibly manage his textile and matching the textiles and the consumer with the most appropriate company, the recycling company, according to the material in the textile that he wants to waste. So the decision, the responsible decision, will be supported and will make it easy thanks to the technology that we want to implement. And the single private user will be directly rewarded from the company that he has selected thanks to our platform. The rewarding plans have been studied, starting really from the survey that we submitted. So starting really from the customer needs, that from which we understood that apart from discount, people also want to get engaged into this circular economy process. Of course, all this would not be possible without the companies applying in our platform that need to pay a convenience fee, let's say, in order to obtain two services. First of all, an additional supply channel, so people, the company will have an easier access to raw materials, and they will also gain on brand visibility and customer relationship management. So if you are a private user, U-Value give you really the possibility to be empowered, to be really the center of the circular economy process and to get directly rewarded from the selected company. And in this way, you actively contribute to the health of the planet. From the business side, you will get access to the double services that we see at the beginning, we see before, at a reduced price.
All these will enable us to achieve a greater objective. First of all, the cultural gap that we were talking at the beginning, aiming at having no textile waste, a lower environmental impact thanks to the immediate match between demand and supply of textile. Of course, in order to put all these in action, we have a clear plan in mind. So after 1 year of development and testing phase in parallel, we would like to arrive ready to the market, rapidly grow, and scale the model into one European country. So this is the U-Value team that I really thanks for their collaboration. And I think that the stage now is yours. I think now you are ready to transform your 2,700 liters of water, so your T-shirt, in a new product. Because you can drive the change thanks to U-Value.
Thank you so much, Julia. That was wonderful. Over to you, jury, for the questions.
Hi, lovely presentation. Thank you so much. My question to you is, again, just to give me a context of the local market, are there any competitors that you're working against? And if yes, what's unique about your product or your platform?
As I said, in Italy there are now raising a lot of startups and small and medium enterprises recycling textiles. So these are potential partners, let's say, and companies that could apply in our platform. So they are our consumer segment as well as of the private users. On the other side, there are, yes, competitors which are more online second-hand marketplace, which is not what we would like to do, such as, for example, Vinted, because it is putting in contact only private users among themselves. What we would like to do is really to put the customer in the center, because we really want to engage him more in order to increase its level of education and information about the topic, and at the same time support local companies. Which is also a problem of the small, medium enterprises in Italy. So we want to achieve this double objective. And it is something that, for the moment, no one is doing in Italy, putting really in communication private users directly with the company taking the textile in its production process.
And what's the preliminary customer acquisition strategy?
On the private single user side, as we defined as a target people and basically between 25 and 34 people, we would like to create awareness thanks to digital platform, Instagram, so it's regarding networking. But we also want to do a lot of partnership with the universities, for example, to take conferences, to raise awareness on the topic itself. On the other side, as we also address our platform to another customer segment, so the companies, we want to be part to some of conferences like that in order to try to get them in our platform, as we need to communicate differently with the two different kind of customers. So the customer acquisition is different.
Thank you so much, Julia. That was wonderful. As we can see, there was a lot of research that went into this project. Now we would like to invite here Group 5, Bangla Mints. And we have with us for Bangla Mints, Andra, Axel, Lorenzo, and Duti. A big round of applause, come on.
So, hi everyone, Duti here. So, coming from a lower middle income family, I learned very early on that more food waste meant more money lost. So, when the news of farmers in my community, my hometown, Noshindi, having to waste so much produce annually, which is more than half of their annual produce, hit me, I quickly reached out to the community and met this farmer couple, Robiul and Sharmin, who shared their woes around this subject. So what they shared struck me hard. Like the produce that they have, like the wasted produce, they have to bury it right in the fertile lands which is growing fresh produce, like healthy produce. The bacteria that attacks the waste to decompose also attacks the produce that is healthy, which inevitably leads to more waste. Annually, due to this, 490 million USD is lost in Bangladesh in the field, which means 43% of pineapple lost and jackfruit lost, and around 30% of vegetables lost. Fruits and veggies, these fruits and veggies carry the nutrients to feed children of 6 to 23 months. And to tackle this problem, we came up with the solution Banglamins. Our agri-tech business transforms post-harvest loss into nutritious baby food. To achieve that, we have farmers input their data, integrating interactive voice response so that they can let us know right away how much produce they have. We collect it right away and then process the baby food, collaborating with small businesses led by rural women. And we sell it to NGOs who know just the right baby to reach out to. Our market potential is huge, given that we are super inexpensive, we are locally sourced, and we have a more sustainable business model. The road to success for us looks like this. In 3 months, we plan on having at least 1 unit of minimum viable product. In 6 months, we plan on mobilizing the stakeholders in our network. And in 3 years, we plan on scaling Banglamins beyond Bangladesh. Other than having significant health impact and reducing poverty, we are also aiming to reduce methane emissions that happens from the food waste decomposition process. Our team has just the right people to make Banglamins happen. I request you to scan the QR code so that you can help us reach out to just the right NGOs so that we can kickstart Banglamins. And let's join us in a journey to eliminate food waste completely and create a nation of nourished children. Thank you so much, everyone.
That was wonderful, and food waste is something that we see all across the world, right? And this definitely needs to be addressed. So over to the jury for the questions, Natalie.
Thank you for your project. It's essential. The first need of people with water. So it's a wonderful project. I want to know if you have already imagined your first pilot and if you think about the region and the farmers and the transformers are just in the same area because to reduce the carbon footprint.
Yeah, so hello everyone. So we thought about starting from one region. Exactly, so we work with 2 farmers. We started to work with like 1 or 2 farmers. So we began from there. We engage with local people, the trucks, the rural women, and the small businesses in the area. So we collaborate with them. We don't have to pay rent in huge facilities. We can use what we have. And so through that process, in 3 months, we plan to have the first baby product, test it out, see how it goes. I think the great thing about this is that we do have a double thing, which is we not only feed malnourished children, we also reduce food waste on the street and methane in the atmosphere, which I think is the great thing about this business, is that it doesn't just feed malnourished babies, it also helps the atmosphere. And I think that's what we should aim at, a holistic solution that tackles as much as we can with as little as we can.
That was wonderful.
And I have a question around supply and demand. How do you predict how much food loss there's going to be? And then how do you ensure that there's enough demand for the baby food?
So regarding the supply, we know that harvest has a cycle, right? Like you don't harvest the fruit at the same time. So through the IVR technology, we can have live the remaining unsold product, because at that point it's not waste, it's just unsold product that the food merchants did not want to buy. And this way we can have it live and arrange the recipes according, to the food that has been wasted on the season that it was unsold. So this is how we plan on having it. And as for the moment, unsold production is so high, we are actually thinking that by the time we reach that critical level where no one can sell us the unsold food, we will already be quite successful.
So I maybe just add one thing. We do plan to use IVR technology to connect with the farmers. So it's basically a system where it's an easy system. It's basically like you speak to a phone and you just say, we have this much, this is how much we have, this is how much we can give you, so that we don't have to go there, waste CO2, just trying to get to these farms. Just, we just have this information coming in on a server. And from that information, of course, we're going to have some people verify. But so through that technology, we plan to sort of speed up the supply process and the whole production.
Thank you so much.
One question very quickly. Help me understand your business model. Like how much will it cost for a family to purchase this?
Yeah, so we tried to think about how the cost would happen. And we thought that it's not a single unit because we are selling it to NGOs. So we can sell in bulk. So whereas products sold by Nestle, for example, is €2 per portion, 100 grams, we think that it could be lower than 50 cents because we will send it, for feeding 10, 20 children at once.
I have a follow-up question. I'm so sorry. Why will then NGOs buy from you versus the fortified food that the UN, for example, supplies to NGOs?
Yeah, I think our advantage from that point of view, for me, it's pretty clear. A lot of companies that sell to NGOs, they don't know where they produce food, who knows where, they use who knows what methods. But I think we're specific in our business model. That's the whole point, is that we empower rural women, we work with local farmers. We have a production. The whole production helps the country, helps the region. While other companies that do fortified food, maybe they produce in questionable ways. We don't even know how they produce. They just have it on the market and they're there because they're only companies that they can get. But we have an advantage. We talk about women, we talk about farmers, we talk about food waste on the street, we talk about children. And I think that NGOs today are interested in young people with businesses who want to make a difference, not just in bulk, having a big brand, but that work with people in the region where the problem is solved. And, just to add last thing, transport. We will reduce transport immensely. Because if you have a company shipping from the other side of the world, then the pollution and the whole process will be much more than if you're just producing it there where the NGOs are operating.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can we
Thank you.
have a big round of applause? Without further ado, Group 6 on the stage, please. A big round of applause for them. We have Dia, Rowan, Shivapriya, and Georgia. Over to you.
Good afternoon. We are the Society for Realization of the Green Dream. The Dead Sea, Alaska, the Maldives. Natural beauties, aren't they? Are we ready to lose them? If we don't do something about climate change soon, by 2050, we risk losing all these natural beauties on Earth. But there are people who are willing to act now. For example, we have Dia, who's a student, who's looking for a volunteering opportunity related to climate change, but he doesn't know where to find one. We have Georgia and Priya, who are bankers, who want to finance such projects, but cannot find legitimate opportunities. And we have Rowan working for an NGO who has ample, amazing ideas to beat climate change, but does not have the resources to actually put that into action. Behold, SRGD. We are the Tinder for climate change initiatives. I know there's a lot of fans of Tinder here today, but we will match the NGOs with the resource requirements. We will match interested stakeholders with the NGOs. We will basically be a platform that brings together various collaborators interested to battle climate change together, thus creating a society for realization of the green dream. For example, individuals can find right job opportunities, finance providers can find legitimate projects and NGOs that they can support financially, and NGOs and organizations can find the right collaborators. As a matching platform, what is our value add? We would be a one-stop shop for all the resource requirements that a project or an NGO needs to meet their climate action requirements. We would also conduct a due diligence ourselves of the organizations that would be onboarded to the platform. So you as a stakeholder dealing with these organizations can be assured of their credibility and reliability. We would also provide reports and analysis on climate change initiatives on our platform. We would provide premium services, including advisory, tailor-made solutions for a finance provider or an NGO. This brings us to our revenue model, which can be classified into three main streams. One would be subscription fees, a nominal fee that we need to fund the platform. For the organizations, a premium subscription would offer more tailor-made services to the organization. Advisory fees, we can provide advisory to a finance provider on impact financing strategies. We would provide advisory to the NGOs, how to pitch, how to attract investors, and also we would charge for reports and analysis available on the platform. Where do we see ourselves a year into operations? This is our aim. We aim to grow our team, including the techies we need to create our platform. We aim to have concluded at least 10 transactions in a year, including advisory and structuring. And of course, for this, we need to have onboarded a significant number of stakeholders onto the platform. This is our team, SRGD. The platform is actually based on the initials of our names. So you have Shivapriya, Rowan, Georgia, and Dia, who's joined us remotely. You have our contact details here. Thank you for listening to our pitch. We look forward to collaborating and discussing further to bring SRGD to life.
So this is basically what I was hearing in the breakout sessions. I heard Tinder somewhere and I was like, no, doesn't sound like a social business though. Over to you, Jury, for the question and answers.
It's a super interesting idea, particularly relevant to some of the things I've worked on in the past. I guess with any platform-based model, it's really hard to get a certain user base to start with. So how do you plan to do that? And if you could briefly speak to your competition as well in this space.
Sure. So on the users, you see our team is very diverse. We have 2 people with a financial background. We would speak to, it's basically we're going to reach out to our connections to try to onboard finance providers. Rowan has a lot of experience in this field. He can, we need to spread the message, we need to onboard people because yes, the platform will be a success only if the society is created. We have Dia, who's actually a university. He can help reach out to universities to onboard the students over there. We can partner with these universities to provide volunteering opportunities. This is how we plan. So, of course, we'll have to make use of social media platforms and spread the message. And on our competition, I can quickly show you a slide that we have. So we did a bit of research, thanks to Dia, on our competition. There are many platforms, but there is not a platform that is so geographically widespread because we don't have any geographic restrictions, and we're not focusing on any particular resource like only finance or only human resource. No. We're saying we're a one-stop shop. And from our research, there's not a platform that is providing that worldwide. And another thing that differentiates us is we are focusing on climate change. That's what we believe is something that we would like to do.
I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay. So very briefly, help me understand your problem statement. Very briefly.
Rowan, do you want to take that?
So just to take the problem statement, there are people, and we knew it actually from where we started. So our starting point in our first meeting was that we all want to get involved in projects like this as youth, but it's very difficult to discover what is out there. On the opposite side, and it was said earlier in one of the sessions, is that there is a massive talent shortage in impact projects, in environmental projects, and there's a deep need for talent and resources, finance, and those sorts of things. And so it sits on both sides, that there are people that want to do stuff about climate change but have no idea how their individual impact can do that. There are finance providers who want to provide finance but can't find the projects to do so. And there are lots of projects that exist but don't have the capacity, the resources, or the human capital to do so. So that's why it sits at the nexus of these things, is that the problem statement is essentially there are people that want to act, there are people that are acting, and we are bringing those together.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Big round of applause for them. It was wonderful. You were well prepared. And with that, I would like to welcome the next group, Pamoja, on stage.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. So today I'm going to take you on an imaginary trip to the beautiful country of Kenya. Each year, almost 1 million visitors come to Kenya mainly for leisure purposes and spend most of their money on safari activities because Kenya is an all-year travel-friendly destination with a diversity in its landscapes and cultures and a high attention to environmental conservation. Still, the tourism industry has some weaknesses related to specific stakeholders. For example, the local businesses don't have an adequate infrastructure that is able to capture an international audience. The foreign agencies are not able to build long-term relationships with the local businesses because they are not reliable as the international tour operators. While the international tourists are not able to find authentic experiences because when they come to Kenya, they mainly rely on the foreign tour operators led by foreign people and cannot communicate adequately with the local people. Still, we notice that the tourists are willing to change this situation and want to build and make lasting relationships and authentic experiences with the local community, and also to deal with companies that are digital and also socially and environmentally sensible. So this is the opportunity that my team tackles. And my name is Aisha, and with the project Pamoja, which is in Swahili means together, we want to build a platform that connects the international tourists and the local businesses so that they can make lasting relationships. Our market potential is made of 1 million visitors that came each year to Kenya. And our business model is the following. We start with a demand made of international tourists and a supply made of local tour operators. Since we want to make a bond between them and so to close the knowledge gap, our platform is made of experiences that we sell to the international tourists coming to Kenya. These experiences are provided by our partners, which are the local tour operators. And in some cases, with these local tour operators start with disadvantages because I said that they don't have an adequate infrastructure. This is why our secondary revenue source would be that we partner with corporate companies. And so they provide us with funding in exchange for an NFT that certifies the social impact that we make through our projects. And this social impact is measured according to the GRI standards. So this is our mock-up. In our mock-up, we have a collection of experiences which are mainly related to forest adventures, water adventures, and cultural heritage. Our competitive advantage is mainly made by the fact that we comply with the local sustainability requirements of Kenya, and also that we are strictly compliant with the GRI standards, and we allow the corporate firms to make a social impact in a similar way to the carbon credits and the plastic credits that make an environmental impact. Our team is made by me. I made the mock-up, Federico who made the business model, and Sarah who gave us the framework of the situation in Kenya. And our strategy for the next 12 months, mainly in the first 6 months, we want just to make research and to understand who could be our potential local partners. And what can be their pain points to start making drafts of our projects that we want to get funded. And in the next 12 months, we would build this MVP of our platform and start testing it with some international tourists. Lastly, our impact, our vision is to push up this 15% of value generated and captured by the local community to 50%, so that both the international tourists can get authentic experiences and build lasting relationships with the communities, but also the local communities can have a benefit that is both economic and also social. Thank you for the attention. If you are curious to know what's the meaning of our logo, you are free to scan this QR code. Thank you.
Love this. And I hope you launch the app soon. I've been meaning to travel to Kenya, so I would be looking forward to that. We have time for 2 questions. Over to the jury.
On the demand piece, what is the research that was done to ensure there is demand for such a service currently? Or platform, rather.
Is it okay if I get it, Aisha?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. First, we didn't told you, but Aisha is working in a travel company. So our starting case, is a company, an Italian company that is struggling, reaching an adequate and proper local operator to collaborate in Kenya. And the idea is then that a demand is already existing. We also performed surveys in order to understand if the people that are traveling to Kenya also face this problem. So it's not a business problem, it's also a customer problem. So we interviewed people that traveled with Aisha company, basically, and we looked for comments and we spread our surveys in Facebook group. The idea is that people is really in love with Kenya, but he's having troubles in getting the real experience out of that. And I think the demand, it's really ready. It's more about the supply. So we are not only connecting people, but we are also building the supply side. Why? Because acting locally, we want to build a trustful local operator network. It's not only about us selling products or selling services. It's about building a local network of people able to deliver in a sustainable way and long-term a service.
Have you statistic about the tourism in the few years in Kenya? I love Kenya. It's a wonderful country.
I don't have it here, but we did some research and we found that, of course, during the pandemic, the demand fell because of the restrictions, but it was on average 1 million tourists each year. So during the pandemic, it fell to 700,000, more or less. But this trend is now shifting because of the restrictions that there are no more.
Yeah, actually, the data we used are all coming from the government of Kenya, especially from the tourist department. The 2023 and 2024 are foreseen to be record year for Kenya, and that's why we also decided to choose this country as a starting point. Not only for that, but also because Sarah, that is following us remotely, is from Kenya, so we also want to leverage this presence and this knowledge of the market that, of course, for us that we are from Italy, we don't have.
Thank you so much. A big round of applause for Group 7.
Ciao, Sarah.
And with that, I would like to invite Group 8 on stage. Group 8 is Nutrilite.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for being here today. 4.1 billion. 4.1 billion is the number of people that by 2050 would be suffering by obesity worldwide. Such an astonishing number. As science shows, obesity among children and adults has increasingly affects and increases the risks of conditions such as heart diseases, diabetes, heart breathing conditions, but also mental and psychological issues. This would mean that 40% of the people present here today would be affected by these problems in the future. Through this project, for our team, the goal has been to study and identify the root of this phenomenon. And we are convinced through our research that our deficient relationship with food is having a direct impact on our health and on the environment. Unfortunately, very few people are really aware of it. With the rate of obesity nearly doubled since 1980, an imminent action must take place today to avoid irreparable consequences. Through our solution, we aim at giving you, change makers, the keys to make an impact on your health and on the environment. Our goal is to create a platform that is reliable, easy to use, and inclusive. We will be enhancing the increasing importance of gamification to boost users' engagement and commitment in leading this change. This is Nutrilite, your pocket-sized platform and guidance to your nutritional life that aims at making nutrition fun and accessible for everybody. We use tech to connect users with an all-around platform that enables the user to learn, create, share, and grow. Exchange and connect with experts. Customize your diet and reach your goals. Share your progress within your community. This is what Nutrilite is about. Michele, Lana, Jörg, you, the users, will be the key for success. The community and the reach of our community at Nutrilite has no limits. All you will be part of it. It doesn't matter if you have experience or not in nutrition. What really matters is your willingness to be at the center of this change for you and for the community. Through our research, we estimated that 400 million, the actual users today of such nutritional platforms. And as our focus shifts toward the Italian market, we aim at targeting 175,000 users within the first 3 years since the launch. The question is, how are we actually going to achieve this goal, and how are we actually going to differentiate from our competition? And the 2 points that we have identified are gamification and community. It's the 2 gaps that we have identified within our competitors. And on those 2 points, along with portability and connectivity, we will have to focus to ensure users' commitment, engagement, and to really bring our added value to the market and to the users. So, join Nutrilite community, be a leader, and act now. Because maybe one day you will be part of the 4.1 billion Nutrilite community worldwide. Thanks a lot. And thanks a lot to the team and to Stephanie that today could not join us with their presence here. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Let's have the questions from the jury.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a brilliant idea, but from what I understand, like food habits, they're formed over years, right? And obesity, it doesn't happen in one day. Like years of addiction to sugar and unhealthy food habits. So what will you do to change mindsets in the first place for you to acquire customers? But then this is a systemic problem. This is not just an app issue, right? What is your plan for that?
Of course, the goal is we're not going to achieve this by ourselves. The goal is to partner with other actors, and here we're talking about governments, private companies, to really shift the mindset and the behavior of the people. We think that the COVID situation has accelerated the deficient relationship we have with food. There's an increased external pressure from marketing, from friends, to consume some types of foods. So our goal will be to partner with governments to have, I think, also an important investment in marketing because, as you said, it's a behavioral change. It doesn't happen in one night, but it's definitely one point of focus for us.
Yeah, and please pardon if I just missed this. Where do you intend to start in terms of market? Because not only is the magnitude of the problem different in different markets, I think the sort of mindset and the manifestation of it's different and depends on food availability, family, culture, etc. So how have you thought about the first pilots or starting it?
In terms of country or users, for example?
You can say users, you can say countries, however you've kind of thought about the market segmentation.
Okay, we picked Italy because science proves that Italy is one of the countries that has the highest obesity rates in Europe, not only amongst children, among youngs, but also widespread through different ages. So that's one of the reasons why we picked Italy. And in terms of age, the idea would be to not only impact the, let's say, the young independent men and women, meaning in the 20s, in the 30s, but also to affect parents, because we know that children obesity in Italy is the highest in Europe. So how can, by influencing the parents, we can also have a direct impact on children's eating habits.
Thank you. Do you have an idea how will you manage the digital addiction? Because your solution solve one problem, the food addiction, the food in general, but the digital addiction is also another problem.
I think our goal is not to make it into a social media. It's our goal is to make it in a more personal guide, a space where you can share your experience with others, but in no way it's a space to not waste time, but get lost in misinformation. For us, one of the key causes of this problem of our poor relationship with food is misinformation. We want to be sure to provide reliable information and not to get people lost and in such a problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Group 8. And so we have the last group before we break. We have a short coffee break. Group 9, can we have you on stage? Group 9 is Be More. We have Guillaume, Dennis, Fela, Nurul Hoda, and Louis. All the best.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. So I wanted to start just with one question. How many of you work outside a social business and do not work on a charity? Okay, so most of you. And how many of you regularly volunteer? Okay, still quite a bit. Just we actually started to look at the topic of volunteering. So in a world of 1 billion volunteers, so 1 billion people volunteering, we started to look at this because they're helping out social businesses, charities. So these entities, they have many times they have some issues in terms of funding. Sometimes they use this funding to hire people, and they have trouble hiring people, trouble to get some help. And many of these talents, many of these people who would be willing to work on specific development needs, many times they don't find where to help. But then one of the issues that we encounter is that many of these people say, I don't know how to become involved in volunteers. But this is the easy answer. This is the easy answer. You put it on the survey. You know, why you're not volunteering? Yeah, I don't know how to. But here what it says is really, sometimes I don't have enough time. I don't know a place where I could use my skill to help out. And then we have the figure of 70% where volunteering is done outside charities, outside businesses. So these people really they're not going through an actual business. So what we wanted that was the problem in terms of volunteers. We wanted to show you the problem of employer, because an employer, 31% now, people quit because they don't feel they have meaningful work. So they want to have social impact in their daily lives. But then many people, they don't want to leave their jobs. They're comfortable, and that's fine. You know, not everyone needs to be a global change maker, but you could be helping because you have some time that you could be doing something and making use of your skills. But this is a problem for employers as well, because we would like to involve employers. Our solution is trying to involve employers because they have a cost here, which is people are leaving their companies, and there is a cost associated with this leave, right? Which is in terms of training, which is cost 150% of annual salary to hire a new person, train them, and get to do the work of the person that was doing before, right? So our solution here is to involve social businesses, charities, as well as employers, unemployed. So we want to link them. We want to link needs from social businesses and charities to people who would be willing to help out in specific tasks. You know, not only manual work. You know, not of course some of the great work charities do and social businesses do. You can go help out to specific locations. But now we're becoming a more digital world, and there's a lot of tasks we could be doing, a lot of skills we have available. I'm an internal auditor. I could be helping out in terms of compliance and verifying that everything is being done properly. So we want to link these people, and how does it work? So first of all, a cherry bee, or you call it cherry bee, or a business, would input a need in the platform, and we would have someone apply to this need, and then the business or the charity would select the candidate. So what is the more? Because of course there are some people, there are some entities already doing this. Of course it's not easy to find, of course, but we want to do this for free. So it's not volunteering where you get paid, because some of these opportunities to help out, you know, they're paid because people need to eat. They need to have some money for that. So we would like to make this free, but how do we make this a sustainable solution? We need to involve the employers, because we saw there is a cost for them. So maybe they would be willing to help out in this sense. They would be willing to, some people in my company would be willing to, so let me give them some tasks from some social businesses that are aligned with our solution, with our values. We also have the verification of truthness, so ensuring that the entities inputting the needs, they're verifiable, because there's also this problem that some people do not trust the entity because they don't know it very well. Then we have this very important more, which is companies not only would be trying to retain talent in their teams by giving them some time to help out these charities, these businesses, but they would also have visibility of any unemployed person who would be helping out a charity or a business, and also experience certification. And just on the case, so year on year, there is an increase in virtual volunteering in 29%. So this is a case for having some of more of this digital work that we can do. And a very important figure, which is 51%. So 51% unemployed volunteers are more likely to find jobs than non-volunteers. Right? So if you have unemployed people joining in, trying to have some experience in this, and having sponsors looking at their work, maybe they are going to get hired. So there is an incentive for employees to become involved as well. In terms of phase, so initially fine-tune the platform, because the platform is a big project. Then we have the implementation phase and the testing and the launch. In terms of costs, well, it'll be around over 200, which is high, of course, for a platform. And here I present you the team that helped define this idea. We have Dennis online with us, so thank you for working with us. So this is Be More, and now free to any questions.
Thank you so much. Just to add, we're a little short of time, so we can take only one question, if that's okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Does How do you quantify the ROI for the employer? I think you spoke to it a little bit, and there's a specific thing I noticed, which is you talked about people leaving work because it's not meaningful. In my mind, volunteer opportunities contribute, but do not sort of necessarily it may not necessarily prevent the turnover.
Yes,
So
of
what
course.
can you basically encapsulate the ROI for an employer?
Yes, so that's clear. It's not the only solution. I think it would help out, but it's of course not the only solution, because when you're saying that someone is leaving because it's not meaningful work, there are many factors. I can't really tell that person is saying, "Oh, I want to do more social business. I want to do more charity work." Of course, I can't say that, but I think in looking into these statistics, it is part of the issue. So we're not here to tackle the whole solution. We're here to tackle a significant part because there's normally day-to-day jobs, they're not aligned with people's skills. So people come out of university, they go to a job that in many times is not aligned with what they did in university, right? So maybe they would be finding opportunities to use their skills into this platform and for the common good, right? But also keeping jobs, because it's okay not to be just in a social business. It's okay to have your day-to-day jobs, but I know many people would be willing to just take some time out and help out. I've helped out a social business back in Portugal, just out of my spare time. It's an opportunity for me to use skills beyond the internal audit, because I come from economic financial background. So I think there will be more people willing to do this.
Thank you so much. I think you touched the right point of social business, selflessness versus selfishness. Thank you. And so we break off. We have a short coffee break. Thank you so much. And we come back at 16:45. We see.
Just the last. We don't have the last.
We do have more pitches. It's a break.
Yes, but
Everyone took it.
We meet each other.
Sorry?
We meet each other at 17:45.
Yes.
What? Each other at 45.
Yes.
Someone was talking.
Natalie was talking. Maybe ask her again. I think she was thinking.
Confused because on the program the
Yes.
timing was wrong. It was like at
We are
4:15.
yeah, we are a little late.
No, because you're late.
This may come as some surprise, but I miss you. I could see through all of your lies, and still I miss you. You taste her love, but it doesn't feel like mine. You taste her kiss, but her kisses are not mine. No, they're not mine. She takes, but surely she can't give what I'm feeling now. She takes, but surely she doesn't know how. Is it a crime? Is it a crime that I still want you, but I want you to want me too? My love is wider than Victoria Lake, and my love is taller than the Empire State. It divides and it jumps and it ripples like the deepest ocean. I can't give you more than that, but surely you want me back.
you to want me to. My love is wider than Victoria Lake and tall as the Empire State. It dives, and it jumps, but I can't give you more than that. But surely you want me back. Is it a crime? Is it a crime that I still want you, but I want you to want me too? Is it a crime? Is it a crime that I still want you, but I want you to want me too? Is it a crime? Yeah. Is it a crime? Is it a crime? Is it a crime? I said, is it? Is it a crime? I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Oh Lord, oh Lord. Well, if you told me we will try it, I would know, lend a hand. I have seen your face before, my friend, but I don't know if you know who I am. Well, I wasn't there and I saw what you did. I saw it with my own two eyes. So you can white off the green. I know where you've been. It's all been a pack of lies. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Oh Lord, oh Lord. Well, I remember, don't worry. How could I ever forget? It's the first time and the last time we doesn't show, but it'll pay as you grow. It's no a stranger to you or me. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh no, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Oh Lord, you can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Her hair is hollow gold, her lips sweet surprise. Her hands are never cold. She's got Bette Davis eyes to turn her music on. You won't have to think twice. She's pure as New York snow. She's got Bette Davis eyes. And she teases you, she unease you, all the better just to please you. She's precautious, and she knows just what it takes to make her blush. She got Greta Garbo, stand up side. She's got Bette Davis eyes. She let you take her home. It was her appetite. She'll lay you on her throne. She got Bette Davis eyes. She take her tumble on you. Roll you like two dice until you come out blue. She's got Bette Davis eyes. She'll expose you when she knows you off your feet with a crumb. She throws you. She's ferocious, and she knows just what it takes to make her blush. All the boys think she's a spy. She's got Bette Davis eyes. And she teases you, she unease you, all the better just to please you. She's precautious, and she knows just what it takes to make her blush. All the boys think she's a spy. She's got Bette Davis eyes. She'll tease you, she'll unease you just to please you. She's got Bette Davis eyes.
I used to think maybe you love me. Now, baby, I'm sure. And I just can't wait till the day when you knock on my door. Now, every time I go to the mailbox, gotta hold myself down. Yeah, 'cause I just can't wait till you write me you're coming around. I'm walking in sunshine. Oh, I'm walking in sunshine. Oh, I'm walking in sunshine. Oh, and don't it feel good? Hey, don't it feel good? I used to think maybe you love me. Now I know that it's true. And I don't want to spend my life just in waiting for you. Now I don't want you back for the weekend, not back for a day. No, no, no. I said, baby, I just want you back, and I want you to stay. Yeah. I'm walking in sunshine. Oh, I'm walking in sunshine. Oh, I'm walking in sunshine. Oh, and doesn't it feel good? Ooh, doesn't it feel good? Yeah. Oh, doesn't it feel good? I'm walking in sunshine. Oh, I'm walking in sunshine. Oh, I'm walking in sunshine. Oh, and doesn't it feel good? I feel the love, feel the love, feel the love that's really real. I feel the love, I feel the love that's really real. And I'll say it again, oh yeah. I say it again, yeah, yeah. I'm walking on sunshine, baby, yeah.
She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, oh mine, but what do you mean? I'm the one who we dance on the floor in a round. She said, I'm the one who we dance on the floor in the round. She told me her name was Billie Jean as she crossed the scene. Then every hair turned red eyes, a dream of being the one who we dance on the floor in a round.
People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. A mother always told me, be careful what you love. Be careful what you do, cause a lie becomes a truth. Billie Jean is not my love. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one. But the kid is not my son. She says I am the one. But the kid is not my son. For 40 days and 40 nights, lost on her side. But who can stand when she's seen the man, her schemes and plans? Cause we dance on the floor in a round. So take my strong advice. Just remember to always think twice. She told my baby we danced a treat, and she looked at me and showed a photo. My baby cried, his eyes were like mine. So we danced on the floor in a round. People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. She came and stood right by me. Then the smell of sweet perfume. This happened much too soon. She called me to her room. Billie Jean is not my love. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one. But the kid is not my son. She says I am the one. But the kid is not my son. somewhere else. The war machine springs to life, opens up one eager eye, focusing it on the sky. As 99 red balloons go by. 99 Decision Street, 99 ministers meet to worry, super flurry. Call the troops all in a hurry. This is what we've waited for. This is it, voice. This is war. The president is on the line. As 99 red balloons go by. 99 nights of the air, rise super high-tech jet fighters. Everyone's a superhero, and everyone's a Captain Kirk. With others to identify, to clarify and classify, scramble in the summer sky. As 99 red balloons go. 99 dreams I have had, in everyone a red balloon. It's all over and I'm standing pretty in this dance that was a city. If I could find a souvenir just to prove the world was here, and here is a red balloon, I think of you and let it go.
On dit pas sur des races,
I made it through the wilderness. Somehow I made it through. I didn't know how lost I was until I found you. I was beat, incomplete, I'd been had. I was sad and blue, but you made me feel. Yeah, you made me feel shiny and new, like a virgin touched for the very first time, like a virgin when your heart beats next to mine. Gonna give you all my love, boy. My fear is fading fast. Been saving it all for you, 'cause only love can last. You're so fine, and your mind make me strong. Yeah, you make me bold. Oh, your love thought out. Yeah, your love thought out what was getting cold. Like a virgin touched for the very first time, like a virgin with your heartbeat next to mine.
We will have a photographer.
You're so fine, and you're mine. I'll be yours till the end of time, 'cause you made me feel.
a virgin, touched for the very first time, like a virgin. When your heart beats next to mine, like a virgin, ooh, like a virgin, feels so good inside. When you hold me and your heart beats and you love me, like a virgin. When you hold me, feels so good inside. There's a rat in my kitchen, what am I gonna do? There's a rat in my kitchen, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna fix that rat, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fix that rat. When you open that mouth, you don't talk, you shout, and you give everybody the blame. But when they catch you up, they will shut you up, and you got no one to blame. When you're out in the street, you practice lies and deceit, and you scandalize my name. But when I catch you up, I'm gonna pull you up, I'm gonna check out inside your brain. There's a rat in my kitchen, what am I gonna do? There's a rat in my kitchen, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna fix that rat, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fix that rat. When you tap on the scene, you make everyone scream, 'cause they know you're so unjust. But when they catch you up, they will kick you up, 'cause you're someone they cannot trust. You invade
did we
my
get
space,
find the
make
little
me
sons?
feel disgraced, and you just don't give a damn. If I had my way, if I had my say, I'd like to see you have. There's a rat in my kitchen, what am I gonna do? There's a rat in my kitchen, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna fix that rat, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fix that rat.
Test, test. If we could have everyone sitting on the chairs, please. I see people chilling in the background. I'm very jealous right now. Okay, maybe. Sorry to. Perfect. So I hope that was a good break. Let's see how much energy we have after the break. What do we do to check the energy in the room? Why? Come on, I did not hear you. This was so quiet. Louder. Come on. A little bit louder. Come on, energy, people. Perfect. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Group 10 on stage. I see the energy back and people dancing and chilling. Welcome to the stage, Ingeborg, Chiune, Sylvia, Diane, Yazan from Group 10, FinFit.
Thank you. So, have you ever heard someone say they were having troubles managing their own finances when they were young? Maybe this someone is you. Maybe in the past, with more knowledge, we could have done better. One of the most important financial decisions students can make while they approach the end of the study, high school, thank you, is to whether continue with their studies, or, and if so, how to fund it. Making this kind of decision requires a lot of financial skills. They can learn through parents and schools. But here is the issue. From an OECD study made in 2020, many parents have been found less equipped than other parents to transmit the financial knowledge to children. As Italy is one of the lowest countries in the world, having not a lot of financial education, we decided to focus on it. So we found interesting numbers. We found in an Italian survey called Edufin, and it has been made in 2021, and we found like 59% of their respondents with low financial literacy struggle to make ends meet every month. Only 30% of youngsters could respond to 3 basic finance questions. And finally, 30% cannot cover a 2,000 unforeseen expenses. So we have a goal here, and the goal is to raise awareness. And maybe we have something to have it.
You, FinFit, and this is financial fitness, easy, transparent, and fully digital. So this is a user-friendly finance app that can help youngsters in Italy in the age between 11 and 18 years old to get on top of their personal finances and to really become future-proof, meaning have everything safe for the future, whatever it might hold for them. And therefore you actually have to start early on getting on top of your finances and to be safe and to know what to invest in. So you might ask, why yet another finance app? Because there are many finance apps out there and they're not really distinguishable a lot of times. And finance is, to be honest, often a dry topic. And this is why we choose a different approach. So we will combine a little bit of different aspects in here. For example, a gamification approach that you might know from Duolingo. So really including like daily challenges that you can take on and you can really like integrate in your whole day life for families and their children. But also a learning community where you can connect with other pupils, students that maybe have the same hurdles and maybe can motivate yourself and motivate through others. They a little bit like Runtastic, but for finances. And also supportive one-on-one coaching, so very individual, tailored to the needs of the children and the families. So let's have a little bit of a deeper look how we actually want to hit the market. I'm just going to skip this very quickly because this is our team, how we actually integrate our knowledge into the building of this app. But yeah, just let's go about it and maybe come back to it later. So for the funding strategy, we have different things that we want to tackle. We want to keep the app free for children for families in disadvantaged areas and therefore get the revenue streams in through different parts. Meaning we want to approach banks and we want to approach private schools in the first approach. So we start with an MVP, selling first or hitting the market first with an MVP, meaning a closed beta test phase, learning from this phase basic features that we offer in the first version of the app, and then extending it to more extent for the whole market, basically, extending the features, learning from the first iteration. And also, the private schools will get delivered something they can really work with and include in their curriculum. So we look also at the sales, and we create a win-win-win. Of course, for the children and their families to really know more about finances, enhance financial literacy, but also for the schools, adding it into their curriculum and relying on an app that actually works. And also, of course, when we look, how do we get like other sales in? We will we will sell ad space to also to collaborators, third parties, but also collaborations with influencers to create really premium content. So to see what really is the potential of the market and of like in regards to our idea, we will have a quick look at the numbers.
So the Italian market is quite interesting. We have like 5.7 million youngsters from 11 to 18 years old. As well, we also have like nearly 15K schools, high school and middle school. And we have nearly 500 banks. So this is a nice and huge market with nice potential that we can tackle right on. So FinFit, financial fitness. This is time now to raise awareness. Thank you.
I'll create a bit of surprise and come from this direction. Thank you. That's what happens when you try to give a surprise. Thank you so much. This is something that I feel like I personally need, an app for financial education. I've been reading a lot of books, but definitely would have helped to have it as a young adult. Over to you, the jury.
Thank you. Hi, I think it's really cool that you guys are doing this, but help me understand what makes you different, because there are a lot of apps doing this, right? Like increasing awareness for financial education. So what is unique about your product?
So we had a look at the Italian market, and actually what we saw is that there is not a single app that targets youngsters between 11 and 18 years old. So it's actually quite new. What we saw is that there are applications for younger adults, so above 19 up to 30. But for the Italian market, what we have seen so far is the Italian government preparing books for schools, but they're still in the phase of teaching the teachers to be able to provide the content for the students. Thank you for the excitement from downstairs. But apps actually in Italy are not there yet. So not in Italian content and not specialized in the Italian needs. So we will actually be opening a new market.
And I had a similar question. So it's basically, I'll turn it into a follow-on question. How do you design an app that particularly appeals to youngsters? Which aspect of the app design does it manifest in?
So what is really important is actually to have a look at user research. We know how children learn, and there is a certain way to do. So we will definitely conduct user research. This is why also we do an iterative approach to really know that to also play content that works, and also work, of course, with interaction design. So where did the children need which content, and really create it. And learning by doing, basically in the iteration, also changing the concept in the sense of what works with the group. And we will test also with the children and their families.
And I would like also to add that because it's blockchain based, that means we will secure the identity and the privacy for the data of the children, which is the parents. It's the most or number one issue for them. That's it.
One follow-up question. You also mentioned that you want to give out ad space. Am I right?
Yes, correct.
So if you're targeting this for young kids, you're also exposing them to a lot of ads. How does that work?
So first of all, the ad space is restricted, meaning in how much percentage this will make actually of the app. And also, of course, we will very carefully choose who are we partnering with. This is not going to be like push sales in your face. It's really something where it's more like education, like really maybe connecting to other platforms, because we don't see like we just are the only ones like hitting financial education, but really connecting also to other communities or what makes sense for this target group. So basically as an open space for ads that fit, but not sales push.
And in our idea, it's not also going to be the main sales stream. It's going to be something additional to the first three you saw. So that we can become and remain independent and we can say no thank you to certain.
So what
type
is
of
the
content.
main way of raising money?
Yeah, so we're going to start. It's okay if I respond? We're going to start with private schools. They represent 25% of schools in Italy. And when I say private schools, don't think about elitist kind of institution, because in Italy they also are really affordable. So it's just comparable to the public school. And they're actually partially funded by the government. So that's going to be partially where we're going to start. And the second part is going to be financial institutions, because they have an interest to increase their consumer bases and also make sure that they can appeal to youngsters. Also in Italy, you have a lot of bank accounts that are dedicated to youngsters. So we know we have a market there.
Thank you so much. Let's have a round of applause, particularly with all the disturbances. Very well done. Yes, let's have group 11 on stage. We have Eduardo, Laura, Daniel, and Judy.
Hey everyone, hope you're having a good afternoon. Whose first time is it in Turin? Have you visited Turin before? It's my first time as well. So with that being said, let's take a trip to see some other cities. New York, London, Cairo, Mumbai, Johannesburg, Rome, Istanbul. What is it about all these places that we just visited virtually is in common in these images? Unused rooftop space everywhere. Our social project will strive to transform these underutilized areas into green rooftop gardens to help fight the dual problem of urban heat islands and urban food deserts. Think back to last summer, where temperatures reached scorching highs of 60 degrees centigrade on Paris in Place République, where I live. Very hot. While it's difficult to imagine cooking in such temperatures, many people do not even have the choice because they simply do not have the time or money to buy healthy and nutritious food. They must resort to buying canned goods or hyper-processed foods in convenience stores, or worse, eating at McDonald's or other fast food chains, or going to supermarket chains, industrial-sized supermarket chains, to buy plastic-tasting food, plastic-looking food wrapped in plastic. So, our solution is a three-pronged approach, where we will build an online community for local farmers, an online marketplace for urban farmers to sell their produce directly to consumers in urban heat islands and food deserts, and a community for urban farmers to connect with other urban farmers to exchange services, soil, seeds, savoir-faire. And we will also offer a brochure to those people who might not be internet savvy or who might not have the time or the means to shop online. In addition, we will also offer an agri-advisory entrepreneurial solution to leverage the legal, tax, marketing, and IT expertise that our team has, so that we can take care of the business side of things, and urban farmers can take care of what they do best, producing delicious produce. Lastly, we will develop an AI-driven map to identify the areas that are most concerned by urban heat islands and food deserts, and partner with local governments so that we can best invest their resources in the areas that require it most, in the communities that are most vulnerable to urban heat islands and food deserts. Our business model is as follows. So in the first prong, we will charge a 2.5% service charge on transactions that are conducted in our online marketplace. And we will, in addition, which will provide the initial growth factor for our services. For our agri-advisory solutions, entrepreneurial solutions, we will charge hourly fees for the advice that we provide. And then for our AI-driven map, we will use that map to partner with local governments and ESG-sensitive private investors to lease rooftops and develop our own urban farms and sell produce directly through our online website. The keys to our success are as follows. In 3 months, we hope to have our online marketplace up and running for our London pilot city. Within 6 months, we hope to have engaged at least 5 urban farms to sell produce to our consumers, to the consumers in urban heat islands and food deserts. We hope to canvass at least 25 urban heat islands, food deserts, to raise awareness where it is most needed. We hope to have 1,000 repeat consumers within 1 year. Of course, we want to have our AI-driven map configured within 6 months, which will depend on integrating the various indices that research has told drive the urban heat island effect and food deserts. And lastly, of course, despite our expertise in tax, legal, IT, and marketing, we'll also need to recruit an agricultural specialist to our team. But we're confident with a little time, a little water, a little soil and sun, that we will have urban oases everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have time for one question, if that's okay, or two. Okay.
Very cool. So it might be my ignorance, but are urban farmers a whole new category of business? And if so, how do you plan to sort of propagate the idea, etc.? And I know we're short on time. I had like a corollary, but let's just leave it at that.
So it's a growing market. So we are going to cater specifically to that growing market of urban farmers. So there's a strong need. So there's about 400,000 hungry children in London, for example, who don't have access to the nutritious food. And this food could grow right on their doorstep through urban farmers. A lot of people are willing to grow these urban farms. There's about 100 new urban farm projects who come into existence every year at the moment in cities like Paris and Singapore. A lot of these highly concentrated, highly densely populated cities have a lot of interest in seeing nutritious food produced on their doorstep. And there's a lot of urban food deserts with a lot of the population who isn't digitally included in the way of things of the internet, or for example, in
HelloFresh or a lot of the apps that might cater to more wealthy clientele. Obviously, would exclude the people who are in areas that are most vulnerable. So it's really trying to provide a solution to digitally integrate the people who are excluded because they might not be rich, white, or living in those types of areas.
Okay, and that's why the fact that we combine the map for and the marketplace means that there will be both geographically close farms as well as access to marketplace through both online and phone services, which can cater to the urban poor who are disenfranchised and don't have access to these services.
I have a very quick follow-up question. So there clearly is a need, right? And there are a lot of buildings that have unused rooftops, and there's a lot of potential, but it's not happening, right? We don't see a lot of food desserts or food gardens up on our rooftops. How are you going to incentivize city dwellers to do this? What is in it for them?
Sorry. Well, I think. Sorry to interrupt. I think that the one, and this goes to the second prong of our project, is that a lot of urban farmers not have the necessary skill set to maneuver the complicated city codes, urban housing codes, to manage their accounts, to do the IT or marketing. They're stretched a bit too thin. And so we believe that our entrepreneurial solutions, our agro-advisory entrepreneurial solutions, will provide the extra help so that they can focus on taking care of the agricultural side of their initiative. So I think as for any entrepreneur, there's a lot to take care of. You have to wear a lot of different hats. So our goal is to provide an extra leg up for these farmers so they can take care of what they do best.
And the incentive would be that they could be able to sell the nutritious food that they produce on the platform. So we've had a few surveys where we've analyzed refugees or the elderly population or even people with just spare time on their hands who would be able to make spare cash from selling fruit and veg on their rooftops, and it would be a community event where people could get together and have maybe a coffee or on the rooftop. So we'd make it a social space as well. So they'd have an incentive because they'd be spending time there and they'd engage in their community, as well as be able to sell produce for the elderly, for example, who have some spare time and who would be very willing to plant these products, and so they'd be engaged in the community.
Thank you so much. A big round of applause. So if we could have group 12 on stage, which is Self-Jet, and we have in this group Delise, Salar, Kima, and Zabine.
So, let me just answer your question. How many people out of 10 regret rushing their career choices? Can you guess? It's 9 out of 10. People from 21 to 65 say they have picked a university course randomly just because they felt pushed to make the decision because they were running out of time. But I have a second question for you. Do you know how much it costs to change your career? 70,000 euros. It's something that most people only get to earn later in life, and some of them are even getting to earn at all. Hello, my name is Sabina, and I'm the CFO of our Self-Jet, which is the future of vocational training. So the problem that we are trying to solve is quite simple. And our best way to describe is, don't try to be a footballer if yours is cooking. We live in a world where most people do jobs that don't correspond to their real desires, potential, and dreams. And we know that we could have been in a more productive and motivated world than we are today. And to solve this problem, we use gamification tools to launch an app, which is a friend in the pocket for every bachelor student.
in order to guide them through the whole process of self-discovery, professional orientation, and skill development. So, how is the self-chat working? So, it proposes a great variety of features by using the psychological approach. It proposes personality tests, exercises to assess students' weak and strong points, and also it sends everyday challenges to the students to discover new things in order to make them discover what is theirs. Also, there will be providing more video and learning materials in order to develop the skills that are vital for the rapidly changing world. Plus, at the end of the journey, SafJet matches you with a corresponding profession based on your desires, skills, and needs. This is not a quick journey. You need to spend at least 1 year in the app while AI is collecting information that even you don't know about yourself. Plus, all the material is developed by our strategic partners and tested out by the team of psychologists. So who are the partners? There are simply companies that will have corporate pages in our app in order to offer internships, jobs, and even participation to events to the students. Let's see who are our stakeholders in this world-changing project. So the first part of monetization is covered, of course, by subscription fees by companies who are strategic partners and just having corporate pages. But another great role is played by the government and also educational institutions, which can promote strategic professions which are crucial for the development of the country and also promote programs and scholarships for the students. And finally, another thing is very important for our monetization is offers that might be interesting for students. For example, like promoting co-working spaces, bookstores, libraries, and so on. This is actually a pretty valuable market. The vocational rehabilitation service market in 2022 is valuable over $84 billion. And the total addressable market for this is over 600 million people based on the 18-22 years old worldwide population. But we are starting with the Italian market. So we are targeting youngsters who are having an active lifestyle and that are open to new concepts and ideas in order to test out new things. So we have 3 types of competitors. We have the job searching and recruiting apps. You may think, for example, as Indeed. And we also have both social media and job recruiting apps. For example, one of the most popular may be LinkedIn. And finally, we will have educational apps, for example, Udemy, Duolingo, and Coursera. But what makes SafJet different from all of this is that it uses gamification tools and it also uses psychological approach to assess students' skills and also guiding them through the whole process of building their own career path in a much more dynamic way and in just one app. I want you to meet our team, which is made of Kima, Salar, Delise, and me, Sabina. We are bringing different experiences and skills to the table, such as techno-entrepreneurship, business innovation, user experience, and financial planning. And I wanted to thank you all for listening. We will be very glad to answer other questions you might have.
Thank you so much. I think they already answered one question, like what is the major competitor? It was already very prepared. We can take the jury questions.
Okay. Thank you. How long will be the journey? And will you have physical checkpoints in this journey? And what could be it?
Other question? Yes. Just to check something by saying physical touchpoint, what do you mean?
You propose a digital journey, but we need also physical checkpoints, physical links, with a group to check that we are on a good way.
Okay, got it. Actually, it will be a digital experience, but as Sabina said, companies will have corporate pages in our app. Also, they can propose physical events to students. So if you are a scientific company, you can organize events, collect all the students that are interested in your company. And by this way, we will link companies and students. This will be like the first way of doing that. And for sure, all companies can put their events in their corporate pages. They can have like workshops, they can have like shadowing days, etc.
Hi. I think it's a really cool idea because this is something that not only young people, like fresh graduates, can benefit from, but also like professionals. Like, I think most of us feel like, confused, like where are we going when we hit the 10-year mark. So I think it can also cater to professionals. But my question to you is, how are you going to determine the content? So like how will you know that someone needs this kind of training in order to be skilled at this? Like, what's the science behind that?
Okay, we sure have to do a lot of surveys among the population, starting with our early adopters, which are the 3 million people living in Italy, which are in that age. So we will do certainly some market analysis about what are gaps, what are the studies, and in order to ask them what are the main issues they are having, like finding a job. So that is the main thing, asking directly to the customer, which is in this case the student, what are really needing for this.
And what does your preliminary research say? What's the greatest need in the market right now?
Want to answer the question too?
Yes, actually, it's the soft skills because the research shows that companies are more interested in soft skills. Like when you have someone who is creative, who is good at time management, who is good at teamwork, you can teach him hard skills as well. That's why, like, we will have courses to help them to develop soft skills at the beginning.
And about your question, how we can choose a content, we have a characteristic test about MBTI. We can know how is their characteristic type, and we choose a content to train our users to skill up them.
Just to add something, as Sabina said, the app is based on AI. That means app knows more than you know about yourself. Like it corrects every single point, every single action. And when you register, you choose first of all your interest. Like you choose what you know about yourself. Then you discover more about you.
So the AI is gonna assess my skill gap.
Yeah, yes, that's it.
And create the content for my upskilling.
Yes, that's it. Actually, every day you will receive tests, for example, and based on that, you will know what you are good at and bad at, and then the app will suggest you tests to improve this or that skills to be more competent in the workplace.
The main problem is satisfaction. We want to help people how decide when they are young to satisfy when they be old with our application.
Thank you so much, Salar.
Thank
A big round of applause. So now we have on stage group 13, which is Asali Hub. We have Dennis Karani, Diana Soy, Jonan, Eche, and Marco. Please come on stage.
Hello, everybody. How many of you enjoy some honey with your tea, maybe especially when you're sick? Yeah, I love it too. So honey is actually a very high-value product that has a lot of demand globally, right? And it takes not that many resources to produce. It's relatively cheaper. It is a big industry globally. It's a $9 billion a year industry. And there's a lot of global demand for it, as I said. In Kenya, there's a lot of domestic demand for it. And 80% of Kenya's farmland is actually very suitable for beekeeping, but there isn't enough production to meet even domestic demand. So why is that? There's a problem in that beekeepers in Kenya lack the right resources to meet domestic demand, right? So most beekeepers in Kenya at the moment won't produce more than what they know they can sell. That's one of the problems. So they lack the link to the market, to the buyer. And beekeeping in Kenya is done in very remote areas. So transporting the honey or transporting their product from the remote villages to the big cities where the buyers are can be very costly. So they have to rely on middlemen who seek to make a profit off of these beekeepers in disadvantaged communities, right? So our business, Asali Hub, is looking to solve this problem through a tech-enabled application by by linking the beekeepers to the market, to the buyers directly, right? So how are we going to do this? We will provide real-time market information on pricing and demand to the beekeepers directly, and we'll do this by partnering up with the buyers in the cities, so this can be the businesses who sell the honey. And we will also provide them with a reliable platform that charges fair costs to help them transport the honey to the markets, to the buyers, right? And we are going to do this through a USSD app. So for those who don't know what USSD is, you don't need data or smartphone apps to use a USSD application. So it's very accessible. So we'll be able to access the beekeepers in places where there isn't very high smartphone penetration in the market, right? So with Asali Hub, we are looking to make the middleman redundant, and we're looking to make the middleman redundant, and we want to become a key tool in the beekeeper's tool shed, let's say. So we want to create we want to empower the beekeepers to grow their businesses, to make a difference. So our target here is poverty reduction. And with each transaction through Asali Hub, we want to see an increase in potential. So we want to see an increase in production. We want to see reinvestment opportunities created for the beekeepers. And because we are a USSD-based app, we can leverage our technology for data collection to really measure our impact and adapt when necessary. So we have an ambitious growth plan, including helping, hopefully, our farmers to start exporting to developed markets by 2025. But that starts with developing our app and onboarding our first 10 beekeepers, and we want to be able to do that by by June 2023, right? So we are a diverse team of 5 people, but we recognize that we need to grow talent and we need to onboard expertise. So at this stage, we're looking for introductions so that we can start engaging with key stakeholders. Thank you very much for your time.
Over to you.
So would you characterize this app as a logistics app? And if so, what are the main pitfalls that apps like this face? And if it's not a logistics app, you can just say, I don't consider it a logistics app, to keep it simple.
So as a starting point, yes, I would consider it as a logistics app because we will allow the farmers to book transport and arrange for transport. So one of the key considerations for us would be to find the right platform, the right vehicles, the right maybe company to help us with the transport. And we need to make sure that cost-wise that makes sense, both for the farmer and for the sustainability of our business. But we also see other growth opportunities in the medium term. So we would like to make this a marketplace almost to bring more beekeepers with more of the buyers in Kenya and maybe process orders like actual honey purchase orders through our application as well. But as a starting point, yes, that's what I would say.
Okay, thank you. What will be the cost for a bee farmer of your solution? And have you thought about use the environmental data that farmers could sell? And it will be a good deal.
Right. So in terms of actual numerical costs, we haven't done the studies yet, but as a first step during our development phase, we would like to do some in-depth market research and find out what would be workable in terms of cost. But the cost benefit for the farmer is right now the middleman is already charging them a cost to provide this service. So because we're fully digital, or let's say hybrid, we're almost digital, we have low costs, and also we will charge fair prices. So it's an alternative to the existing, more expensive model that they have. Yeah. And I'm sorry, the second part of your question was?
Just if you have a thought about how the keeper could sell the environmental data. For example, it could be a good deal for the farmers because with bees you can observe the planet.
Yes, so in terms of data, we see ourselves as a data hub where we're going to collect the data, but we haven't thought so far as to how we're going to share that. But monetizing it, trying to monetize it for the beekeeper is something that we'll take into consideration when we're moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we have with us on stage Group 14, which is the last pitch of the day. So let's maybe start with a big round of applause for them. We have with us Group 14, Bandhan. We have Tansif, Janine, Oliver, Carolina, and Mariana.
Hello everyone, this is Tansif from Group 14 and we're representing the idea of Bandhan. Okay, so we know this Bangladesh is one of the most prospective countries in the Southeast Asia, but the fact is that most of the parts of the regions of the country is under the poverty, and the significant portion is in Rangpur. I want to ask you a question. Do you think that is it possible for a family consisting of 9 members to carry out all the basic needs of their family just with 100 USD per month? We interviewed Fatima and Mossadegh. Both of them face challenges. They are in the tertiary education. They actually can't access the education, or they have faced challenges there throughout their educational life. They face challenges for the accommodation, foods, and so on. So basically, they have to cut down their foods or their family needs, and all of these challenges faced by them. So those two are not actually the examples. There are multiple examples, hundreds of examples, thousands of examples in Bangladesh. So there's a lots of students. We know these are the poverty. They're below the poverty, and they just actually need the admission cost, like the $50. They just need the accommodation and all the costs. That's around $800. So the problem is that they don't have the money. They don't have the money to contribute to the family, to contribute to the society. Here we come, the platform, the Bandhan. We are an interest-free platform that will actually help the students to provide loan. So let's dive into details with Janine. Janine.
To help you understand exactly how Bandhan works, it's important to understand how. Thank you. It's important to understand how young people are currently addressing this problem. So what we've found is that students are approaching Facebook groups, crowdfunding platforms, and local newspapers, as well as going in person to their neighbors, family members, local community members, and their school teachers. The problem with this is that it's limited to their own social networks. Bandhan would provide a unified and easy-to-use platform where students can approach their own social networks as well as a wider pool of donors in the form of a student loan that is 0% interest and only repayable once students are earning over $200 per month. The repayments from these loans would feed back into the platform and create a compounding, recycled and measurable impact that we would use to catalyze further investment from philanthropic organizations, companies and government agencies that recognize education as a driver of development. To clarify the way that we would differentiate ourselves from the existing solutions in the market, we would provide security on our platform, transparency about where the money goes that organizations donate, and measurable impact, which would in turn grow the donor pool and create a value for students, as well as a pool of value-add services that we would build into our platform over time. These value-add services include job-seeking content creation that we can market to a wider student pool, data insights such as building a credit risk model in the niche that we would be operating from our lending activities, as well as skills-based training and a general well-being package that helps students get to a point of a good job. We would also want to reach out to students that aren't able to access our platform digitally, using a local ambassador program to onboard students in person. That would then grow as we build ambassadors through lending to students. We also see ourselves expanding geographically in the future to other developing nations with similar structures. This roughly represents our revenue generation prospects. We plan to mainly gain revenue from a 5% commission charged to organizational funder donations exclusively, so individuals would not pay to provide funds to their social networks. We would then also monetize our platform through targeted advertisements, our content that we create, the job-seeking content, and our data insights. And we do sort of expect to break even around the second year, and we would use those revenues to repay the initial investment that gets us to a break-even point from setup. We would also then reinvest the rest in developing our well-being package. We would know that we're on a trajectory success. We estimate if we can loan at least 30 student loans and partner with at least 5 organizational funders within 90 days of operations. And please ask us if you would like to know more about our sort of standardized impact measurement that we would implement to catalyze that further private sector investment. So thank you. This is our team of 5 young people working towards zero unemployment and zero poverty.
So I have a basic question, and pardon if it's fragmented. I'm intrigued by the model of sort of lending. So how are you expecting the students to repay? And how are they vet in a way that gives the person who's giving it trust? Or are you thinking more of this as a philanthropic write-off and it's a nice to have the repayment? So more about that would be great.
Okay, that's an awesome question. So, I mean, we've been hearing a lot about this sort of a lending model to like microloans, which is essentially what we would be giving like loans in the region of maybe an average of $600. These would lack collateral because from our sort of system analysis, the students that we would be loaning to wouldn't have collateral and they would have exhausted all the means that they have available to them to, access their education to this point. We've developed a model where students would repay the loan once they're earning over $200 per month, and from that position, repay on an earnings basis. So Tanzif can give you the exact numbers because he is more familiar with the Bangladeshi currency and
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, as Jenny mentioned that we put some on the barrier, like if a person actually earning more than 200 USD, we know that 200 USD is not enough, but we will cut down just a portion amount from the salary, or they will be eager to give us. So basically, we're planning that if a person earning more than 200 USD in years, he or she can actually give up the loans that he actually took in the education or the university life. Yeah.
Just to round that out, we actually spoke to a similar microloan platform that operates in South Africa that loans to small businesses. And they found that through lending to small businesses and providing similar value add, they achieve repayment rates of in the 70s percentages. So there would be a discount associated with the impact that we create. But we do believe that students in this position, the opportunity is so great to access a tertiary education. We can rely on the trust and their own incentives.
I have another question, which is related to governance. So, I mean, there definitely is a need for such a platform like this, but how would it work? Because it sounds like a microcredit or like MFI, right? But why will the central bank allow you to do this? That's my first question. Second question is, if I want to, fund someone's education, why will I give it to you? Like, what's the credibility that you guys offer?
Okay, so Excellent question. To try and broach the sort of regulatory consequences of holding funds, we would try and create a peer-to-peer funding platform for individual investments. So if an individual is a family member or community member of someone who's requested funds specifically, the money would be transferred directly to the student. When it comes to organizational funders, it would be necessary to hold the funds in a suspense sense. However, on the funding side, we would partner specifically with organizations and develop contracts with them specifically, and then deploy funds as quickly as possible based on the sort of academic year. Directly to students. So So we would need to sort of work out as we develop our platform how exactly to work through the sort of regulatory environment around holding funds in a fiduciary capacity. But we do have sort of finance and accounting and sort of corporate professionals on our team that would assist us with navigating that environment. What was
Okay, so I want to add, in terms of your second question, you're talking about you want to help just one student throughout our platform. Why you actually give the money to us, not the student? So basically, you are providing the money to the platform. We are providing the money to the student. Then the student will return the money to us. We'll help another student. So you are not actually helping one student through us. You are helping from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, and 8 to 16. But when you are actually interacting with one student, you are just helping one student. But if you use the platform, you can help from 1 to 16, 30 to 64.
And will you ask for an interest rate or a commission? What's in it for you?
So it would be 0% interest for us. As a social business, we would be looking at generating revenue simply to reinvest it in into our business model. So, of course, there is the discount and sort of time value of money, and I assume that we would have to repay some sort of interest to our initial investors. But what's in it for us is the sort of turn of the market towards private sector sort of for-profit solutions to these sort of educational access to education problems.
So we have some announcements and some interesting challenges that you have been participated on coming forward. But before that, firstly, a big round of applause to every single pitch. You guys did an amazing job. I was talking to the jury, I was talking to some of the partners, and they were all saying how timely most of the solutions you were talking about and how deeply you researched all the different points. So this was Young Challengers Program 2022. We think you're the most interactive group of people we have had so far in the Young Challengers Program. And just wanted to say that we are very appreciative to all of you. And we hope it was as much as an internal journey as an external journey. So we have first, I would like to introduce Mr. Kojo Anand, who is here with us. So we'll be announcing the Young Challengers of the Year. It was very hard when we first decided to try this out, iterate, like we learned from the first workshop. It was just to see how a gamification process actually helps to engage people more. And we love the fact that you brought all your heart, all your energy, all your passion into making this a success. So with that, we have not only one, but 3 winners who tied in first place as the Young Challenger of the Year. So the first places that we have is one Aisha. Second, we have JD and Shani.
Stage, I give you a book.
And third, we have Tansif Ansar. Please come on stage, the Young Challengers of the Year 2022. And with that, I let Kojo take the word.
I'm just here to wrap things up by really congratulating all the fantastic contestants we had so far. As Shishit said, I think the group feels that this is quite frankly the best cohort that they've had so far, the interactive nature of the group, and I think she summed up two key words there for all the entrepreneurs: energy and passion. As someone who's been an entrepreneur and investor myself for many years, I just wanted to share with you that you have to keep going, you have to keep driving. I think on one of the main stage panels they said earlier today that resilience is a key to the entrepreneurial journey. You're going to have fantastic ideas, but there's going to be speed bumps, there's going to be tough moments along the way, and resilience and determination, I can't underemphasize, is such a key for the successful entrepreneurs who get there. You have your dreams, you have to chase them. The road is long, and the road can be lonely, and the road can be difficult, but you will get there if you keep the passion and the fuel burning inside of you. I think we're very, very impressed by the range of projects and innovation that we've seen. And as the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day, so it takes time. Nothing happens overnight, but if you keep the focus and the resilience, success will be yours. And I think with the amount of exponential growth and technology that we've had in recent years, I'm very convinced that innovation can and will change the world. And in all the various countries that you're from, something that starts locally, a local mission can have a global vision. And we're very confident and excited by the range and skill sets that we've seen today, and wish everybody great success. And congratulations again to our three winners. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And with that, we are almost at the end of the program. What we'll be doing right now is we'll be tallying it, so you would only know about who's the winner of the best pitches in the closing ceremony. But we know that you put your efforts in and you've been a part of this program, an integral part of the Young Challengers Program 2022. So we'll be giving out the certificates. And for that, can we please have the jury on stage? Samira, if you could... you on stage. Thank you.
If you can hear me, raise your hands, guys.
So to get the certificates on stage, first I would like to call Group 1. Group 2. Group 3 on stage. Can we have Group 3 on stage? Group 4. Group 5. Group 6. Group 7. Group 8. Group 9. Group 10. Group 11. Group 12. Group 13. Group 14. If we could have all the jury and all the participants with their certificates in the stage, around the stage, we'll be taking a group picture with all your certificates.
Maybe I will ask you.
No, you can ask Sadia.
Yes, absolutely. You should be on stage. No, you should be on stage. Yeah, you have to be on stage.
Vedi che a noi non ci...
I have climbed highest mountain. I have run through the fields, only to be with you. Only to be
Oh, they don't hear me. Okay. So
I think it doesn't work because the half of you, I don't see you because on the back it's, so I'd rather prefer we put one row of chairs in the front, then we can sit in front of the chairs, on the chairs, and we have 2 steps from the stage. I think it would work out better. I'm sorry.
Maybe like some people there and some people there. If you want to like go in the front. Can you put the jury in the middle, please?
What did you mean with jury?
So that's Natalie, Samira, and that's her. 3 of them, they're the jury. So if they could be in the center, and then everyone else.
Okay, then we should sit them on the chairs, or how
No,
do
it's
you?
fine. I mean, as long as we see the 3 of them together, it's fine.
Okay, then it's
Listen, still running. You brought the bones, lose the chains, cover the cause of machine, of machine. You know I believed it, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still.
Oh, you have to go up. Yeah. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people, right? I have to go more in the back.
Next photo.
Okay.
Not yet.
Say
make no